Hello everyone. I hope you had a lovely week, and I also hope you could enjoy a wee bit of spring where you are. Spring has definitely arrived here in Scotland. The daffodils are in bloom as well as the crocuses, but winter hasn't given up yet. We still have grey and very cold days in between. However, I love to see the colours and the new greenery, and some of you have commented how much happier I look lately and whether this would have to do with my new job, which it doesn't. And I thought there's a misconception, as there are other misconceptions about me or the channel. And I wanted to talk about this for quite some time, but sitting down and speaking into the camera still doesn't come natural to me. So I kind of pushed it backwards a wee bit. So today's the day I thought I need to talk about the channel. And you've seen the thumbnail and what I want to talk about. Being on YouTube, staying on YouTube, and the channel in general. Many of you know I started my channel when I was not well and unable to work. This was a creative outlet for me in the healing process, to be out and about and do what I really enjoy. And the channel grew over a sudden, and that made me very happy. People commented and shared their own stories, and I was so happy to be able to provide a space for a community of like-minded and kindred spirits. I am deliberately romanticizing the vlogs. This was my creative decision, to allow you to enjoy a peaceful, tranquil and positive moment every week. And what you see is my life. This is my cottage, and the surroundings is where I live. But of course my real life looks different, and the vlogs might have created a misconception of how I live, and that's why I also talk about these things today. At the time I started my channel, not many channels like mine were around. I, as a highly sensitive person, was looking for something calm and quieter and not interrupted so much. And that's what I try to incorporate into my channels, and I think I have successfully done this. I aim to create something for people to have a quiet time, to share their own stories, and to enjoy a peaceful, tranquil moment in a world that seems to be going crazier every week. After a while the channel grew and I decided to monetize it. I needed to go back to work and create an income. At that point I hadn't worked for 18 months to 2 years, and it was time for me to try to phase back into working. And that's what I did, and it worked, and many more people since then have come to the channel, and the channel has grown, and that of course makes me very happy. To be able to provide these kind of channels, it takes a lot of effort and work. I spend around 20 hours every week to create my vlogs, and 80 to 150 small clips that I use for the videos, as well as the editing process, of course, the voiceover and all the administrative work that goes around in the background on YouTube. To grow the channel further, I have to keep the quality of my vlogs as well as the frequency in me publishing them. This is how the algorithm works, and I, as the content creator, have to adhere by these regulations, as all the others have to do as well. And even though the channel has grown, especially last year, the income of the channel hasn't. I thought I'd share with you what the channel made in 2025. As you can see, it's around £2,800. This means the 20 hours I work every week come to an income of £3 per hour. This does not factor in any costs that I have for equipment that I need, to buy supplies for my crafts, petrol, parking fees, or entrance fees to any castles. And of course, what you see on the channel is my life. Of course, I'm living where I live and I do what I do. In consequence, the £3 per hour I'm making is not my income, as I have to factor in the costs. So it is actually less than £3. And that is why I took another job on last year that I was talking about lately. It is a part-time job for 2 days a week in a local golf club. But as many of you know, I also started my own company when I relocated to Scotland in 2012. And that company ran quite successfully for some years before Brexit came along, and 80% of my income fell away. So the 20% is still there, and I'm still working in this part of the business, meaning I now work for my own business, I work as a content creator, and now I have a third job in a local golf club in the office. There was another reason I took on this job, which I haven't talked about yet. As you know, I share a lot of private things on this channel, but there are some things that I sometimes find are not mine to share, or I want to keep private, and this was one of them. But it's very important to talk about this in this vlog. My husband lost his job in the early months of 2025. He was made redundant, and of course that meant we had no income or very little income from the money that I made. The economy in Scotland and in the UK is not going very well, and it took him a long time to find a new job. In fact, he only started his new job this year in January. And that was another reason why I then decided that I'm looking for work and found the part-time job that I'm doing now for 2 days a week. This means I have to structure and organize my days very well at the moment, and that includes the weekend. I am actually recording this on a Sunday because I don't have time otherwise to do so. I have to see what the weather will be like, I have to see do I have the car or will my husband use it, and do I have enough light in the house to be able to film as well. Of course, I always have been a creative mind and always had creative projects ongoing, but since monetizing the channel this has changed as well. I want to show you different projects and what you can do on a low budget or using nature. With this in mind, of course I have to plan ahead and see what is the season like and what I want to show you and what do I want to try myself. So everything has become very time windowed at the moment, and as someone who has always worked hard in my life, I'm not unfamiliar with this, but I can feel that I am stretching myself quite far, and I know that this is not sustainable for a very long time. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to make you aware of the situation and talk about this. Many content creators on YouTube are now leaving YouTube because of changes to the algorithm, because of changes to the income starting at 2026. And I can see that my income has also dropped. I'm showing you what I made in February. So besides the fact that the algorithm is changing constantly, the income is also changing. But I'm doing the same amount of videos and the same amount of hours. And as you know, I try to not interrupt my vlogs. I'm trying to tell you a story and give you a space to rest your tired soul and recharge. But as I have also spoken about before, that means I have no sponsors or very few sponsors and almost no collaborations. I've lately done some, as you have seen, but that doesn't mean I get paid for them. Often you get paid if the company makes sales because you presented their product. This means the income that I've shown you is the income the channel actually makes. I'm now on YouTube for 4 years and I have to face the facts and numbers, and I have to see that this is not sustainable in the long run. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to leave YouTube, but I also can't go out and do other jobs to sustain the channel on my own. This is where I need your help. I know that not all of you will be able to help financially, but you can help by watching, liking, subscribing and hyping the channel as well. That will always grow the channel and the reach of it. And there are already people on Patreon who support the channel financially on a regular basis. And I would like to say a heartfelt thank you to those. It is really meaning a lot to me. And not everybody has to commit to the channel on a regular basis. If only 10% of you who watch the vlogs would give €1, $1 or £1 to my PayPal, the channel would be immediately in a different position. So let's do this together. Let's grow the channel, sustain the channel and help it reach more people to be able to watch the vlogs. I have so much more that I want to show you, that I want to talk about, and I'm looking forward to doing this. At the end, let me say thank you for watching and listening and for your understanding. This was not an easy thing for me to sit down and talk about this, but it was necessary. Let me say goodbye now, wish you well, and as always, I'm sending you all my love from Scotland. Tach Balif.